Welcome to the Blind Justice Podcast, where you discover the insider secrets of injury and accident cases, and all of your law questions get answered. Now, here's your host, Chicago injury lawyer, Scott DeSalvo.
Hey everybody, it's Scott DeSalvo back with another exciting podcast with you-know-who.
Amelia Finnefrack.
Yes, the notorious AFF?
AGF.
AGF?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My middle name's Grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
hey,
cool.
guys,
Anyways.
thanks for joining us. We're continuing our series of answering mailbag questions. We got a ton of mailbag questions in, and then I was busy, and we haven't recorded a podcast in a while, and Amelia was doing what she does, which is being amazing.
Oh, stop, Scott. So are you.
Oh, you're more amazing
Taking
than me,
cases.
For sure. And you have...
Taking names.
You right now have a piece of glitter on your arm. I'm not going to ask how that happened.
Of course I do. Well, I did go to Pride last weekend, and I'm still trying to wash off the glitter from that. They had free glitter...
Of course they did.
And which is probably terrible for you because they just had it, everybody was it was probably not clean. It was like coconut oil with like a ton of different colors of glitter, and everyone just like painted it on their skin, and I was like, well, you only live once.
Dude, everybody's skin was so well conditioned with coconut oil.
That's what I thought.
They say it's really good for your skin.
They say it's good for everything.
Pretty much.
I have a friend that's like, use coconut oil for sex and in your muffins and like on your face, and I'm like, I hope you have like separate containers of coconut oil for all these things, because what you're telling me, if there's some cross contamination,
yeah, it's disgusting. That's
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm going to buy stock in coconut oil for sure.
You know what? I did just buy coconut butter. Like, it's
coconut
whipped like butter, but it's coconut oil. And it is quite delicious.
Is it
and
like
it's better
flavored
for you.
like butter? Or is
Yeah, it is. It tastes like a sweeter butter. If that's possible.
So it's like a little salty like butter.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a butter flavor, but its base is coconut oil.
And it's supposed to be better for you.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's true or not. I paid $6, so I'm like waiting for it to change my life.
Yeah, right. keep waiting.
Dear God.
Don't hold your breath. Yeah, does coconut oil have a bunch of like omega-3s in it? It
does.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's what they say. I think they say like scientists, nutritionists. Coconut oil's huge, and I guess they're saying now like saturated fats, like saturated animal fats are not bad for you. They're saying...
Wait, that's like the one thing that was drilled into our heads in school is like saturated fats are so
100%.
bad. And now it's good?
Yeah, and now everybody's saying like carbs are... You have to watch your carbs. It's not a good idea to eat too much carbs. Like... Basically, if you want to know the cutting edge of nutrition, buy the best nutrition or diet book from 12 years ago.
God.
Read it, and then do the exact opposite.
That's great.
Another big thing on diet and nutrition is intermittent fasting, where you have like one meal a day, and the rest of the day you don't eat. Supposedly, it's like really good for you.
Have you heard of the new thing called breathalyzm?
Breathalyzm.
Yeah, I just read this at work the other day. It's where you live off the universe's energy, and you don't eat. You eat I'll rephrase that. You eat like a piece of fruit for a week, maybe some broth. And there's this couple that went viral because they claimed that she was able to carry her children while on this lifestyle choice, and she was like super healthy, and her kid was healthy. And that's how they live their life, and they don't even crave food anymore, and it's a practice that's been going on for thousands of years. Yeah.
You're a hippie.
I know. Then they only eat when they're in social settings because they don't want to make it too awkward, which I guess I can respect. That's courteous of them, but I feel like it's selfish.
Here's
bringing
the thing.
Your kids into that.
I could probably live 2-3 weeks without eating because I'm overweight. My body could definitely eat the fat on my body, and I could survive. But normal people who are a normal weight, or even if you have a little bit of extra weight, if you don't eat for a month, I can't imagine that's healthy.
No.
I can't imagine eating like a piece of fruit and nothing else for the rest of the week on an ongoing basis. Like, that's literally crazy.
They've got to be taking supplements. That was my first thought. Like,
Yeah.
they have to have something.
Do they do a lot of drugs? Like, maybe they get really high, eat, and then forget that they ate?
There you go.
Or maybe they're just crazy.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they probably can't work out at all because their body could not handle it.
That would be like me telling somebody, are you getting really stressed out from traffic? Because that stress is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Do what I do. I just float above the sky to work, and then I gently land in front of my office building.
No.
Just do that, and then you won't have stress. Just fly. Just don't be in traffic. Just fly.
Okay, sure. Yeah, all right.
I've been doing it for years.
No, it's true.
It's
it
cuckoo.
It can't be good. Like, and I will say, before we move on, last thing, but I think the fasting is great. I think you should, I've read articles about it saying it's encouraged, you should do it, to detox our bodies. But all the time is like, come on. Cavemen, like, lived off snacking all day, not, like, the energy of the universe.
Yeah, or even, like, the ones who had a high meat diet.
Yeah.
They would, like, catch something, gorge themselves, and then often supposedly not eat for days.
I can get that. I can get behind that. Yeah.
That I can kind of get.
Right.
But this, I'm going to live off the energy of the universe deal is not, no bueno.
Go to Portland and, like, just
be one with the universe over there.
Yeah. Actually, no. You know what? Go to the hills in Tibet and just do that. Just be alone with yourself and write
transcend
a book.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, and then get over yourself.
So we're continuing our series of answering questions that folks have sent us. In the last several podcasts, I've been telling people if you have a legal question, definitely send it to me. You can send it to Scott at DeSalvoLaw.com or at 312-895-0545. Hit extension 5, and you can leave your question on Jessica's voicemail or talk to her and tell her that you have a question that you'd like to talk to us on air about, or just submit the question and we'll answer it in an upcoming podcast. So I got a backlog of them, so I decided to round Amelia up and do a few podcasts where we answer these questions. So would you like to read the synopsis of what this one's about?
I would. So synopsis, I was involved in a car accident, so I have a question for the injury lawyer, i.e. Scott DeSalvo. I think that I might be partially at fault for the car crash. Should I bother trying to file an injury claim?
Yeah, I get surprising numbers of questions. Like, a lot of times people will call me and they'll try to hide the fact that they're maybe a little bit at fault. And then...
and you don't want to take those cases, though, right? Like,
well,
people,
you got to be honest, right? If you got to be honest with me, and a lot of times it's because I feel like people are maybe less than honest occasionally because they got a bill hanging over their head, right? And so they're worried about it. So I try not to judge people too much, but I think it's very common in every kind of cases, like trip and fall cases, fall down cases, car crash cases. Almost every case, there's going to be some issue of, did the injured person do something wrong themselves that may have contributed to it? So it's actually a great question. I don't think I've ever addressed this topic in writing or on my podcast before. So cool. Awesome. You want to read the full question?
Yes. Dear Mr. DeSalvo, I made a left turn in front of another car at night. It was raining and dark and hard to see. I know that means that the crash might have been partially my fault, but it was raining and the other car did not have her headlights on, so I couldn't see her. Is there any chance for me to win this case?
Yeah, so the first thing I guess I would say is I am very aggressive about taking cases, even if they're tough, right? I know tons of guys and gals who do what I do, injury lawyers, personal injury lawyers in Chicago, all over Illinois, and even all over the country. And they're very, very, very particular about the cases they take. They want, a slam dunk case. Well, everybody wants a slam dunk personal injury case, right? I'd like 10 cases in my office that are all worth $100 million each. Like,
Oh my
that
God.
would be my goal,
Have
right?
you ever had $1 million case?
I've had some pretty big cases in my career, but my point is, like, I would love to have simple, slam dunk, uncontestable, super valuable cases.
But life
right?
is not so
Well,
cut
and
dry.
it's also not why I became a lawyer, right? Like, I became a lawyer to help people, and that the people who need help are people who don't have the perfect gift box
Right.
wrapped up case for you, right? So I definitely represent a lot of people. So my point is, I hear this a lot. You know, they're like, well, they're saying it's my fault, and I don't think it's my fault because blah, blah, blah. So
Right.
here we have so the way some people are dissuaded from even pursuing a case if they think they could be blamed at all, even 1% at fault. They don't want to get blamed.
Right.
And then other people are clearly at fault for the crash, but they want to blame the other person anyway. So
Right.
it might be a good idea for us to discuss briefly what is called comparative negligence and how it works in Illinois. First thing I'll say is it doesn't work this way in every state. Every state is a little bit different, right? So in Illinois, the way it works is if the person who got hurt and is suing is more than 50% responsible for the crash, they cannot win the case. So let's say it's you and one other car.
Okay.
If a jury or if it's a judge, a case that's heard in front of a judge, if the judge says, I think it was 49% the other guy's fault and 51% your fault, Amelia, no matter how bad you were hurt, it's judgment for the defendant. Case is over.
Yikes.
Right? It gets a little more complicated. So let's say your car and two other cars all come together in an intersection. And the judge says, well, I think it was everybody's fault equally. A third for you, a third for the other guy, a third for the other guy. Well, since you are not more than 50% liable, you recover, but what you recover, let's say you win $10,000 or let's say $100,000.
Okay.
Your recovery of $100,000 is reduced by your percentage fault. So since you are 33 1/3% responsible and your damages have been determined by the judge and or jury to be $100,000, you win the case, but you collect 666.
That's tough.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it actually can get very complicated, and there's actually another law about what percentage fault a defendant must be to be completely on the hook, jointly and severally, versus just severally. So it's not quite as simple, but that's a good start.
Right. I understand.
If you yourself, and you're the one who got hurt, if you yourself are more than 50% responsible, we're really in trouble, right? But if it's a 50-50 case or it's arguable, it's probably worth taking a stab at, right? And, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I always tell people, talk to a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't cost anything. And guess
Why
what?
not?
It doesn't cost anything to talk to more than one lawyer until you feel confident that you've gotten a solid answer, right?
Like you said in your last podcast, too. I mean, there's no medical condition that gets better with waiting. It's...
Yeah, right. Don't usually injury lawsuits don't get better by waiting either. So talk to somebody now, and it might be that you're going to do or say something that hurts your case because you don't have the benefit of the opinion of a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So talking to a lawyer is a good idea. The other thing that occurred to me on this is, even if you have a tough case, if you have a lawyer who knows what they're doing, in other words, a lawyer who spends a fair amount of their professional practice handling injury cases, like not your neighborhood real estate lawyer who also happens to think he's going to make a quick buck on an injury case, somebody who actually handles the cases on a regular basis. Most injury cases settle, right? And most of them settle before a lawsuit's even filed. So
Which is the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So it might be that you're able to retain an attorney, a personal injury attorney, on your injury case who's going to be able to get you an offer on it before you even go through the rigmarole of trial and all that. So in this case, I would say it's very interesting. You know, these two people are driving on a dark road at night. He says it's a dark road, so that probably means there were like no street lights or not good street lights.
Right.
And so, you know, under those circumstances, a driver having a car with headlights on is really important.
Right.
Right? I mean, cars do have some reflectors on them, but man, the headlights are the only thing you're going to see. You know, he doesn't say how fast he's going. The faster you're going, like if that's a 35 or 40 or 45 mile an hour road in the rain at night, no street lights, and she's not using her headlights.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say
she's not using her head.
Boom, boom.
Light.
She's here all week. Bring your friends.
Don't.
Order the prime beef, prime rib, whatever. Little did we know, Amelia's going to be doing some stand-up here. Right?
Yeah, I am.
All headlight car humor.
Yeah, it's a really eclectic show.
She's working on her act right now.
Only 2 people have RSVP'd, but I'm confident one of the 2 is probably going to be Scott, and maybe the other one's going to be an agent. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, hold out hope.
Yeah,
I think it could happen. So I guess my point is with this gentleman's case, I would say definitely talk to a lawyer, because look, if it's a 50-50 case and this dude has a $10,000 medical bill or a $20,000 medical bill, and we try to settle it and say, look, the bill is $20,000. I mean, it doesn't say what his bills are or what his injuries are, but let's just say hypothetically $20,000 in medical bills and, you know, some ongoing problems.
Right.
If the case is worth $60,000 and we're splitting it 50-50, he's still putting $30,000 in his pocket, right?
Yeah.
He's still ending up with something that's worthwhile for him. And the other thing to remember is, especially if we settle it, it doesn't cost the injured person anything to work on the case. You know, the Chicago personal injury lawyer is the one doing all the work on the case,
right,
and even advancing case costs. So it's completely up to the injured person to decide. But just because you might be a little bit responsible for a crash or an injury does not mean you shouldn't at least explore the possibility.
Right. It's not going to hurt you. Might as well.
Yeah, it might turn into money. So what the heck?
What the hey?
That had to be scary as hell for this guy. Imagine driving, you're paying attention, your lights are on, it's raining, it's dark, and then like at the last second you see a car turn in front of you.
That is terrible. Do a lot of people in these cases also claim emotional distress, like emotional trauma?
Those are, you know...
Do those work?
It depends on the case. I don't like them as official claims unless somebody's really seeing a psychiatrist or a counselor, right? So there's some... I actually did a lot of research on this, on a case that I was taking to trial a couple of years ago. One of the elements of damages that you can claim in an injury case is pain and suffering, right? And so there's some old case law in Illinois that interprets what pain and suffering is, and pain and suffering includes mental anguish, worry, and fear, right?
Yeah.
Now, separate and apart from that, you have negligent infliction of emotional distress and intentional infliction of emotional distress. So what I usually do in my cases is... and, you know, talking about handling a emotional or psychological injury case is a whole topic. We'll do that on another podcast.
Yeah.
But normally what I do on these cases is assuming that it's pretty terrifying and frightening and upsetting.
Sure.
And I've had a lot of people tell me after the crash, I'm like really nervous in the car driving.
Oh, I'm sure.
I usually add that into the pain and suffering component of damages, right? And then I'll occasionally get a defense lawyer or a judge who are like, well, counsel, that's a separate claim of injury. And then I pull out my 1910 case law
Boom, mic drop.
Look, there's
Scott DeSalvo.
Yes,
What up?
there's some ye and thee.
Ye's and these.
No, it's not quite that old, but
Ye olds. That's great.
anyway.
They could use ye, but they had cars.
Yeah, exactly. Horse-drawn carriage collision.
Yeah, there you go. Sure it happened.
So, yeah, I mean, bottom line is talk to a lawyer. Just because you're partially at fault doesn't mean it's hopeless. So I hope this information helped you guys. If you have anything that you need to ask me, definitely give me a holler. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
You too.
Yep, take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. I truly hope that the information in the podcast helps you no matter the situation you find yourself in. But you might need more answers or some more direct help. So there are 3 ways for you easily to find out more and to get help. If you call my toll-free 24-hour helpline, 888-HURT-318, you'll have a couple of options. 888-HURT-318 is my toll-free 24-hour telephone line. You can call that number and speak with my team night or day. First, you can call 888-HURT-318, and you can speak to me for a free consultation about your case or situation. That's always free and no obligation. Second, you can tell the operator that you'd like a free copy of my injury DVD and book. I created the DVD and book, and I give it away for free to injured people who need answers, but who might not be ready to talk to a lawyer yet. Same deal, 100% free, 100% no obligation. Third and finally, you can check out my YouTube channel for informative videos about the injury case and claims process, or check out my other podcasts for more information and interesting interviews with people who know different things about various aspects of the law. I've put all of this together to help you and to answer your questions. Now, you can also help me, and I hope that you will. If you enjoyed the podcast and if it helped you at all, please subscribe, and if you can, take a minute and please post a positive review of the show. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you know anyone who might enjoy the podcast, please spread the word and share it on Facebook. It's my mission to spread good information to as many people as possible, and your liking and reviewing and subscribing to the podcast helps me get the word out. Thanks again. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It doesn't substitute for consulting with a lawyer. If you have a case, speak with a lawyer right away.